Welcome, dear listeners. We have eerie tales ahead. You'll be lured into the realm of nightmares filled with fear and dread. We'll ease you in with laughs, but you mustn't be misled. Be wary, you've been warned. Don't listen before bed.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to Don't Listen Before Bed. I'm Arrow.
Hi, I'm Ari.
We're back for another week with a terrifying tale to be told around the campfire. But before we get into that, how are you, Ari?
Great, thank you. Been very, very happy cooking a lot of my Korean dishes this week, which I've been sharing with you. So that is just my current status.
Nice, man. You're a bit of a chef, aren't you?
I actually think that, like, if I could, I would go back and do culinary arts. I really, really enjoy cooking, and it's just it's a good release of just, like, I don't know, a busy, tiring week, and you just have fun, and it's like, yeah. It's refreshing, yeah.
I've known you for so long, but I genuinely don't know. When did this start?
So I think you've known for a long time that I love mixing stuff, and eventually, as I grew older, I really enjoyed like mixing drinks. Obviously, like cocktails, they're mocktails or can be cocktails for whoever wants that. And I really enjoyed putting things and creating things together, or creating things in general. And it just like around 20, I really enjoyed just like, when you have so many ingredients and you're like, what can I do with this? So that really just like started to grow on me. Like the more I kind of had like random, ingredients, veggies, all that stuff. And then just obviously with YouTube, watching kind of like chefs cook and how to make dishes and stuff, it just turned really creative out of nowhere. So yeah.
I love it. I'm not complaining because I get to eat and drink the stuff that you make. Like Hennessy's Wisconsin.
Exactly, yeah. And you know what?
No, we won't get into that.
No, but of course, no. That's a story another time. But also, I want to point out that it's really nice making something for someone else and watching them eat it and love it. It's priceless.
That's what I feel like is the actual truth behind this thing of yours, where you really like to cook and concoct new things.
Yeah.
It's you like doing it for other people.
You've seen me. I watch you drink like or eat the things that I make, and I'm like, I actually get happy, and especially the mixes that are like obviously not normal. I get so happy. I'm like, what are we making? It's like Frankenstein.
Yeah. It's more like a witch that's concocting
exactly
something.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Actually, a question for you. How are you? I don't think I've asked you the last like 4 episodes.
That's true. You actually don't ever ask me.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. No, that's fine. I don't mind hearing about you. It's completely fine with me. Yeah. I'm doing well. I am in the thick of content creation for various horror games right now. The most important thing in my world right now is the releases that are about to come out this year. So, you know Poppy Playtime, right?
Yep. So is that number 4 or 5? I think 4, right?
No, number 3.
Okay.
You would think that because it's been so long. It's been about a year and I think 8 months since Chapter 2 came out.
Gotcha.
And they've taken so long to release Chapter 3, but it's for a specific reason. They are essentially a indie horror developer that has stepped up into almost AAA level quality.
That's so quick as well.
It's so quick, but it's purely because of the success of their release, their game.
Yeah.
And it's become a cult classic. They deserve it. It's, I would say, after Five Nights at Freddy's in the indie horror world, second has to be Poppy Playtime. You could argue it's there's Bendy and the Ink Machine. Have you heard of that one?
Of course, yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, Bendy, he's like an ink demon. He's literally this creature that's made out of ink, and he haunts someone that comes back to the studio in which he was created.
Yeah.
And the studio created a cartoon about Baby Bendy, this whatever.
Yeah.
That one was a classic. That one's huge. It's huge as well. But since then, Poppy Playtime has probably been the biggest other indie horror release other than Five Nights at Freddy's.
Insane.
And they're also talking about a movie being made for Poppy Playtime.
That'd be great. It's insane how quickly it just became a very like popular thing. I think like it's up there with like Among Us as well. Like I was walking around
just sudden boom and success.
Yeah, I was walking around traveling overseas earlier January, and the amount of times I saw Huggy Wuggy as a figurine or like a soft toy being sold everywhere. And it's like malls, markets, outdoor stores. It's
everywhere.
Caught my attention.
Random dollar shops. You're just like, this is not official merch.
Yeah.
to be fair, just breaking it down a little bit further, I do think a lot of its success comes with the fact that it's marketable. It's not just like like the toy Huggy Wuggy. He's a fluffy toy. It's a toy factory.
Yeah.
That's the perfect sort of root or source of merch.
Oh, of course.
If you're planning on making merch,
Yeah.
if your actual character is
A
merch,
soft toy, is merch in
it is
itself.
a soft toy.
Yeah.
So it just completely makes sense for it to translate into the real world so easily. So I do wonder how much of the success comes from that sort of thing.
Totally.
But hey, look, I don't care. It's a really great story. It's
Yeah.
scary as hell, and that's another reason why people love it.
Yeah.
And this next chapter is just going to be super terrifying. The stuff that they've released, the teasers and stuff like that, has been crazy. So I'm just all over that.
Nice,
Deep in
man.
the lore. It gets me excited. Just like the stories that I get to tell you every single week, the scary stories that I get to research.
Oh, it's good, man. So I'm telling you, it's like that time of the week is always really nice for me because it's when everything slows down and then it's like the fun day, the fun time, So
Yeah.
So what do you
No,
have
for sure.
this week? What are we listening to this week?
This week's story is called Akaname.
Okay.
It's following on from the obviously Japanese theme that we've had so far.
Yeah.
Last week's episode. What was it again? I just brain blanked.
Oh my god, my brain. Teke.
Teke, that's right.
Yeah.
And the week before that being Kushisake Onna, the smiling woman.
Yes.
Both yokais, terrifying stories. I was like, I'm just deep in the lore of Japanese Edo period yokai.
I feel like you're just constantly finding new doors when you find other stories like that.
It's true.
One story opens up that door for the second and the third, and it's just they're
Yes.
all linked somehow.
No, you're absolutely right. But there is a little personal Easter egg with this story on how I found it.
It's a game
So
you played.
And so we'll get there. I'll tell it to you at the end because it'll ruin the story or the best parts of the story. So I can't tell it to you first. But
Sure.
anyway, are you ready for today's story?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right, let's just jump straight into it. This story takes place in Japan's Edo period. In a quiet village called Banshu, nestled in its ancient forests, there once stood an old bathhouse. Its wooden exterior bore the weight of countless seasons, with its peeling paint revealing the scars of time. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the village, the locals exchanged stories about the mysterious presence that lurked in the depths of the aging building. Generations had passed since the tale of the Akaname first found its way into the scrolls of ancient folklore. The villagers, despite the passage of time, held a collective breath whenever the darkness enveloped their homes. They spoke of a yokai, a creature that crept out when the moon hung low, its long tongue ready to lap up the filth that clung to the corners of the bathhouse. Legend had it that the Akaname was not merely a grotesque entity with a penchant for scum. It was a manifestation of the impurities that plagued the soul. The villagers, steeped in the traditions of Buddhism, speculated that the yokai served as a cautionary tale against allowing negative thoughts to fester. To be preoccupied with the defilements of the mind was to risk the Akaname's visitation. As the villagers huddled together in the warmth of their homes, the wind whispered through the narrow streets, carrying with it the secrets of the past. In the flickering candlelight, the elders recounted the eerie tales of the Akaname's origins, tracing it back to the dusty pages of the Kokon Hyakumonogatari Hyoban. I knew I was going to screw that one up. It was such a long word.
It's okay. That was a good try.
So the Kokon Hyakumonogatari Hyoban is a book which translates to A Gathering of 100 Supernatural Tales, which is a collection of ghost tales written by Genrin Yamoka, who was a litterateur in the early Edo period. The scrolls spoke of an Akaneburi, a precursor to the Akaname, born from the accumulated detritus, which means waste or debris, of old bathhouses and derelict homes. It was said to emerge from the negative energy, the inky, that clung to the dust and grime. The villagers shivered at the thought of a creature subsisting on the filth of its surroundings, its origins intertwined with the very essence of impurity. In the heart of Banshu, the dilapidated bathhouse stood like a silent sentinel, bearing witness to the passage of time. It was in this aging structure that the villagers believed the Akaname found its refuge. But whispers of a more sinister variation of the Akaname circulated, one that took the form of a beautiful woman. She would lure unsuspecting victims into the hot springs, where her touch would strip away flesh and blood, until only skeletal remnants remained. The village held its collective breath each night, wondering if the Akaname would emerge from the shadows. Some claim to have glimpsed its airy, blue-black figure, standing with clawed feet and a pebbly head, long tongue extended. Others spoke of a woman, ethereal and enchanting, whose beauty masked a deadly intent. The Akaname translates to filth liquor.
Oh, okay.
Now that we're halfway through the story, how are you feeling so far about the Akaname?
I want to point this out. I love that she or the spirits like dirty baths, and that's kind of like where they linger. Is that kind of what I'm getting out of the story?
Yeah, it's that's where it appears.
That is just, it's interesting to know that, like, even in the weirdest concepts, there can be something or a spirit or something evil kind of like attaching to it, like attaching itself to that, in this case, dirt and grime and, dirty baths. I love that.
The interesting thing about the Akaname is, I was about to say design,
Yeah.
but I don't think someone designed her. I think this is just the manifestation that someone saw and had to retell, is that she is like a very skinny, slender woman with long black hair, and it usually is on all fours. It's on a wall or upside down on the ceiling, and it uses its extremely long tongue to reach the filth where it like licks it.
Yikes.
Literal translation, filth liquor.
I wrote down some questions regarding just the energy. Obviously, it loves like the dirty, grimy stuff. Is there a reason?
Well, there was a point in the story where I refer to how it's a manifestation of negative thoughts.
Oh.
And sometimes it's believed that when you shower or go into a bathhouse, you are stripping the negativity of the day that accumulates on your body, taking it off. You're stripping it off your body.
Yeah.
That's what the dirt represents, or the filth of the day. Yeah. And so you are almost born anew once you leave the bathhouse or you shower or you clean yourself. And that's a religious thing as well. It's believed in that way, before prayer or something like that. That's the positive spin on it. It's like, I'm washing all of this off of my body.
Yeah.
And then the negative spin on that is like, but where does that negativity go? It's kind of having a gang meet up inside the place where you left it and creating something even worse.
Yeah.
Energy never really dissipates or goes anywhere. It just moves. Yeah. And you're moving it into a place where it's accumulating and eventually forms a demon. Now, let's get back into the story.
Yeah.
In the darkness, a lone figure ventured into the abandoned bathhouse. His name was Kato, a curious soul drawn to the mysteries that cloaked Banshu in an otherworldly aura. Armed with a lantern, and fueled by a thirst for the unknown, he stepped into the creaking corridors of the ancient structure. The air inside the bathhouse hung heavy with the scent of damp wood and ancient secrets. The flickering light cast eerie shadows on the peeling walls. Kato's footsteps echoed through the empty chambers, resonating with the history etched into the building's very foundations. As he turned a corner, Kato caught a glimpse of a fleeting shadow. The lantern's light danced upon a figure with a pebbly head and round eyes, a creature that seemed to blend seamlessly with the darkness. The Akaname stood at the edge of the bathing area, its long tongue snaking out towards the remnants of filth that clung to the corners. A chill ran down Kato's spine as he watched the yokai in its silent ritual. The legends, once mere whispers, materialized before him. The creature's form seemed to shift, mirroring the tales of the beautiful woman who would devour flesh until only bones remained. Unable to tear his gaze away, Kato was captivated by the creature's dance with the filth. The Akaname's tongue moved with grace, as if it were performing a sacred ritual, and Kato sensed that he stood at the precipice of a revelation. In that hallowed moment, the Akaname turned its gaze towards Kato. Its round eyes bore into his soul, and for an instant, the boundaries between the mortal and supernatural blurred. The yokai's long tongue ceased to dance, freezing in midair as if it acknowledged the intruder. Kato, caught in the grip of the Akaname's gaze, felt the weight of centuries pressing down upon him. The whispers of the village elders, the tales woven into the scrolls of ancient folklore, converged into that single gaze. The yokai, a guardian of the filth that clung to the bathhouse, seemed to hold the key to a deeper understanding, a truth veiled in mystery. As quickly as the moment had begun, the Akaname retreated into the shadows, leaving Kato standing in the dim light of the lantern. The echoes of its presence lingered in the air, a silent reminder of the enigma that dwelled within the village's heart. Word spread through Banshu of Kato's encounter with the Akaname. The villagers, once bound by the fear of the unknown, now found themselves drawn to the bathhouse. Whispers of the yokai's dance with the filth became a thread woven into the fabric of their nightly tales. The Akaname, it seemed, had become more than a mere cautionary tale. It was a living mystery, a bridge between the tangible and the ethereal. The villagers, no longer content to cower in the face of the unknown, sought to unravel the secrets that had bound their village for centuries. As the moon casts its silverly glow over Banshu, the ancient bathhouse stood as a silent witness to the unfolding mysteries. The Akaname, with its red face and elusive presence, became a symbol not of fear, but of the uncharted territories that beckoned to be explored. The filth liquor, once a harbinger of dread, had become a guardian of the village's past, inviting those brave enough to venture into the shadows of history. And that is the story of Kato and the Akaname in Banshu.
All right, can I pick your brain about this?
Go
Instead
ahead.
of asking me how I feel about this, how do you feel about that ending?
I think it's interesting because a lot of the time these stories are purely based on someone venturing into these places and just dying instantly, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whereas this time it was more like there's a demon hiding in your old ass abandoned building, which is at the center of your village.
sorry. You took a bit of a break, so my brain just instantly captured. There's a demon hiding in your old ass. I'm sorry.
Well, you know, ironically, yes,
I mean,
hiding in your old ass.
Kinda.
And I really like that idea because it's basically telling the story of how in our abandoned buildings in society, we have some old ass demons hiding in there.
Yeah.
And they're attached to parts of our history.
Yeah.
And this is a spin on that. It's more of a unique version of telling that story. It's not like, you know, your classic old abandoned motel.
Yeah.
Someone died in that motel, their ghost is attached to it.
Yeah.
It's more unique. It's like No, it's something that we don't have in the Western world. Firstly, which is bathhouses, which are at the heart of, Edo period Japanese
Yep.
society.
Yeah.
But in this story in Banshu, in this village in particular, it was abandoned. It was an old one, and so
It would have been crusty and
it would have been crusty. It was dilapidated.
gross
It
and
was
filthy.
disgusting.
Yeah.
But because of that detail, a demon manifested and attached itself to it.
Yeah. Oh god.
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
it kind of just resides there now. It's just its house.
It's just his,
and-
it's his house now. Yeah,
Exactly. And
Yeah.
and with any abandoned building, stories come up about it, and they're like, don't go there.
Yeah.
But in our story, Kato
Yeah.
ventured in there, and he found that there is something still living in there, and that the stories of the Akaname are true. And so I really liked how it kind of took it was quite a nice ending, because it didn't end with death and
Exactly. I was
despair,
going to say that.
but it
Yeah.
also confirmed something very, very terrifying, that with abandonment came this manifestation of negativity.
Yeah.
And so I found it very spooky.
There must be spots in our world that like maybe hasn't been touched in ages, and there's obviously dirt and grime and stuff. What if can the Akaname also kind of like seek these places? Like
What-
an old
I'll
subway
tell you a way worse.
that is abandoned.
What if this was just a old wives' tale that,
Makes
mums
people
came
clean
up
their
with?
house.
Yeah, exactly.
I was
It
going to
just-
say that. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That would be the biggest plot twist, but it would also be the greatest one, because it's like the origin story of why you should clean your toilet. It's
Yeah.
because an Akaname will appear, and it came from the old stories in Japan.
Now that you mention that, that's pretty much how most of those kind of like stories that you hear from your parents kind of come through. Like it's because they want you to do something about it. Like
Yeah.
don't stay up after 7 p.m. Otherwise, the boogeyman, whatever. Like obviously the boogeyman's a different story, but there's a different version of that for every
Yeah.
culture.
Because you
not gonna
can't
say it.
reason with kids. That's why. You can't tell them
Yeah.
because you're going to get more sleep and you're going to have more energy. It means
No,
nothing to them.
exactly.
But if you tell them
Totally.
a demon's going to come and lick their
Oh yeah.
dirty debris
Armpit,
that's
yeah.
left in the toilets
Yeah.
and haunt them, then
Exactly.
then they'll actually listen to you, because that's a whole lot scarier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think like I want to believe that this is maybe a story from a parent, but it could be true. I don't know, because bathhouses,
Yeah, bathhouse.
they've got all sorts of weird stories.
Yeah, I mean, isn't one of the most famous Studio Ghibli movies is about a bathhouse? What's it called?
Oh my
Spirited
god,
Away.
Spirited Away. Yeah,
Yeah.
No Face, or is it No Face?
That
That
I know
demon
what
with,
you're
like,
talking about. That figure,
mask? Yeah.
the black figure with the mask. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, is that character potentially like a filth lover or whatever? Because they kind of look dirty in the sense of like I think they're attracted. Oh no, okay, my memory's horrible, but I think they actually like produce dirt and grime in the spa. I'm pretty sure.
I can't remember exactly what the
We need
the
to
story
rewatch
was.
this.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
need to rewatch that one. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you another more modern Easter egg of the filth liquor, or the Akaname, which totally might be in the Studio Ghibli film that you're referring to. But there
Yeah.
was a game that I played which had the Akaname in it.
Oh,
So the game is called House. It's the story of a girl called Tabby.
yep.
And she wakes up in her home in a Groundhog Day-esque style, where constantly her home has been taken over by some sort of entity where every single thing in her house can kill her.
Okay.
And so every
Whoa.
time she dies, she wakes up again the next morning, and she has to learn how to get past that threat.
Oh, I love that loop game.
It's
gameplay.
amazing. I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed this game. And it's an indie horror game as well,
Yeah.
because they were so creative with the ways in which you can
Prevent
die
the death
in this
or-
house. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, that's what you meant. Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
becomes so dark and twisted, and you would never believe what or how it's happening. And there's multiple different bosses in the game and multiple endings that you can get. But there's obviously a true ending where you can kind of like fully dispel the curse that's on the house. But I won't
Gotcha.
get into that. I don't want to spoil it. I've done a full playthrough of it on my YouTube channel. But if you want to watch someone bigger than me, who I personally found it through him as well, our boy Markiplier did a really, really fun playthrough of that. I genuinely watched his entire thing, and that's what made me want to play it as well. Well, I finished it first and then I watched him because it was really, really entertaining.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will spoil one of the deaths for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the toilet inside of her house
There we go.
and you flush it twice, I believe, on
Okay.
the second flush, a head emerges from the toilet.
Oh,
And it's a very pale face with long black draped hair covering the face. And it just appears outside of the toilet and it starts talking to you. I can't remember exactly what it says,
yeah.
but if you try to run away, the entire Akaname comes out of the toilet,
Oh,
and
dude, creepy.
kills you. It eats you.
Wow.
There's another way in which you can befriend the Akaname, which is crazy as well.
By pooping in its mouth.
No, I can't remember. I think there's like an evil genocide route you can play the game as well. If you
Yeah.
take that, she befriends you and she's like,
Yeah.
you're one of us. You're a demon too.
Yeah.
And so she doesn't kill you as well.
Hey,
She gives you
brother.
more. Yeah,
Welcome
yeah.
in.
She
Yeah.
gives you more voice lines
Yeah.
that you can talk to her with. But
Yeah.
it got me questioning. I was like, what the hell is this? And I actually looked it up because I wanted to make a video about it, basically
Yeah.
saying, hey, did you know? Like, I was doing a bit of an Easter egg video on the creature in the toilet. That's what I called it. But
Yeah.
it led me to do a bit of research, and I found out that it was called an Akaname. And that's
So
what
cool.
took me to the research for this story. And I was like, there's so much lore behind the Akaname. I want to go into the real Akaname before telling you about the house version of the Akaname. Because it was just a short, small Easter egg in that game. Because there's about 1,000 ways for you to die in other ways, and she is a very small part to play in that series of deaths.
Makes you want to like explore that more a little bit because that's interesting. And I growing up, that's been my worst nightmare, by the way, is like seeing something come out of the toilet. And you know what it is, man? This is gonna sound so stupid, but as a kid, for some reason, there was a Spice Girls movie playing where these like little creatures come out of the toilet. That ruined me, man. I used to be
Really?
terrified as a kid. Yeah, like I could not stop thinking like, what if I ever need to go to the bathroom? Something like this little creature will come out, or if I leave the bathroom door open, it will come and visit me while I'm sleeping. Like that shit really got to me.
Oh my
So
god!
imagine like
this
a
is
demon.
Yeah, that sounds terrifying, and it sounds like the exact type of thing that would be planted in a child's mind to never leave it and haunt you every single time you're doing something as menial as going to the toilet.
Yeah. Oh,
I just sent
wow.
you a photo on Discord, and I feel
Yeah.
bad for the people that can't see this, but it's a artistic rendition of the Akaname in-house.
Oh yeah.
And it shows you what it's
creepy.
like when the head emerges from out of the toilet.
That just shows how much they love the filth and that kind of like environment that
It's
can
where they
have filth.
reside.
That's where you look. She's just comfortably sitting in the toilet. Like
Yeah.
that's her place.
With her hair drenched over the bowl.
Yeah.
But imagine if the way you actually got rid of her was you just take a shit on her.
Oh
On her
shit.
head.
Oh, shit. I was thinking like you said, genocide run is like you do evil stuff and then she befriends you, right?
Yeah.
I thought one of the mechanics was that you like the character poops in the toilet while she's there. And I'm like, hold on a minute.
No.
You get like
That's
yeah.
not it.
No, that's a good story. Made me really like think back to all these like weird, I don't know, scenes and from different kinds of media where like like bathhouses have weird, creepy stories attached to them, and I'm glad that she dug this one out. This is nice.
I'm sure there's a whole bunch of horror stories or ancient folklore that are associated to bathhouses.
It's definitely a filth thing, man, and negativity and everything what you said, like shedding off that kind of dirt and then the negativity of the day, in these kind of areas where you clean yourself, all the filth in that drain just spawns a demon.
Yeah, but I think that's all we have time for today. As usual, you can find us on YouTube. You can find me, Eroga, on YouTube, or Eroga Official on Instagram, TikTok, or Twitter. Follow me there. You can find Ari everywhere as well. Arikado on YouTube. And is it HF_Arikado on Instagram? That's what it is, right?
Yeah, but I don't really use Instagram much, so maybe just YouTube if I ever post again.
Yeah, YouTube there. You can see the CS god himself. I mean, the FPS god. That is all for now. Have a good night's sleep. Goodbye.